Hello indie game fan, Hidden Gems of July begins with Realms of Magic, a Terraria-style side-scrolling crafting survival title that is pretty good, releasing out of early access after quite a period of time. The main differentiator here is an RPG and leveling system which is pretty in-depth, as well as the expected mining, crafting and building systems, although perhaps to its detriment, is lacking multiplayer support, but the developers are continuing to support this after launch.
There is a little island in the middle of the sea, and the creatures who live there are a little bit froggy. An artist who loves to paint and a guard who loves the moor. The sailor will meet them all before leaving the froggy shore.
If you love cozy games, do yourself a favor and get Time on Frog Island, a wonderfully relaxing title where you're exploring the island, gathering items for the frogs living there in order to get the parts required to repair your ship. It does remind me of A Short Hike, but it's more explicitly fetch questy, and while they did go to the effort to make a custom song for the game, I do still think that the bar for this is from Instruments of Destruction.
Are you ready to start playing with physics? Eradication, no pre-canned gimmicks. Come enjoy the satisfying sensation, the forceful structure annihilation.
Pixel art, roguelite, tactics title certainly checks many of the boxes that I love in games, which is why Immortal Tactics War of the Eternals gets a spot on the list, a strategic title that will be for fans of the genre. Unsurprisingly, this does remind me of Heroes of Might and Magic, which is the series that I love due to the hex grid and the fantasy setting, but it's a pretty stripped down version of that with almost no story and no management, simply focusing on the battles for better or worse. I do think that the combat system is interesting, and I'm curious as to where early access will take this game.
Congratulations! You've been accepted to Escape Academy, an educational institution dedicated to the study of escape.
Escape Academy is evidence of how a seemingly obvious idea implemented into a well-worn genre can lead to tremendous results, since the developer added a simple meta story and narrative to the first-person puzzle escape room experience, which makes the player more invested. You're enrolled in the titular academy, learning all about the arts of escape, and being thrown in various handcrafted rooms in order to do so. There have been a number of these where the story of any escape room tends to be self-contained, but in framing this as a school opens it up for more ideas. Autonauts vs Piratebots is a sequel to the beloved automation title Autonauts, carrying over some of those same mechanics but adding a twist on that. Instead of simply programming your robots and advancing up the tech tree, you now have worker bots and army bots as you fend off an invasion. The core programming and automation elements are still present, but you do now have to advance upon the enemy and to destroy their base in order to get upgrades, being a clever twist on the original. Perhaps the definition of a hidden gem is ADACA, a narrative first-person shooter with a gravity gun equivalent, which of course results in comparisons to Half-Life 2. While the mythical status of that game might be an unfair comparison, I do think that it's still worth a mention simply because it's a different style of first-person shooter, also drawing comparisons to Stalker and the original Halo. I believe it's from a solo developer as well, showcasing how amazing indie games truly are. I I really like the look of Endling Extinction is Forever, a hauntingly beautiful game that is set in the post-apocalypse where you play as the last mother fox on Earth, having to keep her cubs safe while going on a journey to retrieve one which was abducted. It is not the toughest of games, but does mix puzzles and stealth sections for variety, where I wish this was the animal game that took off last month. A very anime and very Japanese 2D Souls-like game is Lost Epic, having you battling gods and taking out the pantheon of 6. There are plenty of playable characters and builds to try, also having a little bit of Monster Hunter in this, with having to grind for upgrade materials. It's another 1.0 release of interest and is good, making it of interest. I'll admit, I was wrong about Hell Pie, since this bloody, gory and generally disgusting vibes of this game did put me off, but having gotten hands-on, I'm pretty impressed with the 3D platforming action. This is a genre which is not common these days, and the developer's love for it is evident, with great feeling locomotion, upgrades and plenty of collectibles. However, I still dislike how gross this game is, but it's a perfectly good entry in the genre. The 2D Souls-like title, The Tarnishing of Juxtia, is good, but does have its share of issues, highlighting one of the main problems with this subgenre in that the dodge roll option is pretty limited in 2 dimensions. I love the pixel art, but people have reported unresponsive or clunky controls, which is the death knell for this type of game, although I did find it to be okay, and watch this video for more Souls-like titles.